Alrighty then. Amazing. Amazing. That's amazing. So you don't like black people? That's amazing. How's your day going? Just starting. Just getting myself like, you know what I mean? Like worked up, ready to fucking do the thing today. Today is, for those of you who don't know, my last day recording like main shows for a little while. Not for a super long time, but I get a few days off, which is nice. And I tell you, man, by the time we end these fucking runs, as we're calling them, everybody's ready to be done for a little while. And so today I've got a patrons episode that I'm curating, and we've got a couple other little things to film, and then I will be finished for a while, which is nice. One of the benefits to us pre-recording like we do. You put in the work, now you reap your reward. Yeah. I mean, the whole idea of this was for us to, I don't know if I've explained this to you, but at the beginning of the pandemic and the lockdowns and stuff, we as a group obviously had a pretty heated discussion about, should we be getting together anymore? And you have to understand, this was fucking tough for us. Really fucking tough. Because we had just spent not a fucking like insurmountable amount of money, but a significant amount of money setting up a new in-person studio, getting cameras, getting fucking lights, getting a professional company to come down and set those shots up for us and decorate for us and make a fucking set. We had just spent this chunk of fucking money to do this. We had that. We also had the dank D&D studio, which was even more extravagant. Like, that studio had racked lights that were controlled by a fucking pre-programmed lighting board at my seat. It was going to be fucking amazing. And then all of a sudden, here comes this goddamn fucking pandemic. Here comes these lockdowns. And we're having this very contentious fight about what do we do with this shit. And it's like, at the end of that, what we came up with was, okay, look, we can't fucking control what happened in the world. It's bad fucking luck, and no mistake about it, but let's not get caught up in the sunk cost fallacy here. Let's take this opportunity, or at least let's take this fucking crazy thing going on in the world right now, the pandemic, the lockdowns, and let's try and turn it into something positive. Let's try and find an opportunity in this. The opportunity was we had the ability, because we were taking off the table exactly how we always shot, we had the opportunity to come up with different ways of shooting. And that is what was born out of this, was this idea of like, why are we shooting these episodes one at a time, spreading it out over the entire fucking week, barely giving enough time for our editors to throw a fucking intro on the shit, much less actually augment the show, do a cute little intro, etc. There's no time for anybody to do that. There's no time for us to do anything else, because we're constantly trying to catch up to what we need to get done this week. And so we fashioned a way of shooting that allows us to get slowly but surely ahead of the game, so that we've got now a really respectable bank of shows. Just absolutely great bank of shows. And that's like the culmination of a year worth of this shit. a year worth of trying to come up with the right fucking mix, trying to come up with the right schedule that everybody can fucking live with. And now we've got it. You know, this last couple of months, we've got it. We've got it nailed. We've got our fucking bank built up, which is something that was like a dream to us for the longest time. Because it takes a while, you know what I mean, for this type of thing to start churning out a fucking surplus of shit. It just felt like we were spinning our wheels for a while, but I knew we weren't. We stuck to it, and now we got a bank. Now we got this bank of shows. Throw out whenever we want. And now we've got the ability, like human beings, to take a break every once in a while. Which is nice. It's a good shit. I bet the shorter episodes have helped with that. Not in terms of filming time. Think about it. We used to give one full episode to patrons, one full episode to plebs. Now we give 3 episodes to plebs and 1 to patrons. So the shorter episodes are coming out far more frequently. Remember, it used to be patron episode on Monday, or a public episode on Monday, patron episode on Friday. Now we're doing 3 episodes. Same amount of research, same amount of filming time, just breaking up the content into chunks. So it really doesn't affect our shooting much. Like yesterday was a mini-sode day. That's what we're calling those. Like internally. I don't know if that's the actual name we're going to go with, but we're calling them mini-sodes. And yesterday was a mini-sode shooting day. We shot 2 weeks worth of mini-sodes yesterday. So just with the output of yesterday's work, 2 weeks worth of pleb content done. Well, it's definitely something we've wanted to explore for a while. This idea that not every topic needs 2 hours worth of shit. There's some topics that are interesting to just kind of dive into, take a look at, or to break up into kind of episodic chunks where we take a look and then we come back to it a month later and we do another episode on it. The minisodes have really limbered us up creatively in order to allow us to cover a wider swath of topics and create videos that are easier for people to fucking get into. You know, it's a lot easier to click on a video that's, 25, 30 minutes long. Turn off my alarm. It's a lot easier to do that than it is to, try and drag out a fucking topic or whatever. How far in advance do you come up with ideas for shows before you usually start recording them? I mean, sometimes it's like the day before, honestly. It's not like that has changed. Like oftentimes I'll look at the schedule and I'll go like, oh, okay, tomorrow's minisode day. That means I've got to come up with 2 minisodes. I've got to come up with basically an episode split into 2. So I, will go out the day before or 2 days before and flip through my Rolodex of shit that I've wanted to cover and pick an episode and fucking do it, So it's not like we're planning out ahead fucking 6 months what we're going to cover. It's just that now we've got a shooting schedule to where when we make those episodes, they go in a bank instead of going straight out. We've got like a release machine now, which took us fucking forever to get right, but we got it. Where it's like we upload the raw file. That raw file is given to our team of editors. The team of editors re-uploads the finished product, and then that finished product is added to the bank and scheduled out for release on a day, a month, or 2 months ahead. And so it's like a factory now. It's like we're, it's sorely been needed. When we first started this show, I mean, you talk about flying by the seat of your fucking pants. Because we really had spent so much time doing this live show thing, we built this show around the idea, well, yeah, we've got to do this, but somehow we've got to make it live. And so we would fucking like Monday, there's an episode due. That means that all of us are fucking researching Monday and getting together that night to do a fucking live episode. Boom. Wednesday, a Flash Friday is due. We all get together. Boom. You know, it's like content was due and deliverable on the same day. And that's the way that this show was for like a year and a half, 2 years before we even started playing around with the idea of pre-recording, multiple recording, non-live content. You know what I mean? Do you other guys know what topic you're doing on a show before you start recording? Yeah. Yeah, I share, we share research documents with one another. So we know what we're covering. I've not seen Bo Burnham's new special. I will check it out if I remember. Do you ever scrap shows after recording them? No. 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 I don't think we've ever done that. The closest we've come to doing that is scrapping the show before we recorded it. Like, there have been a couple of shows where it's just like, man, the research didn't come together. The show feels like it's going to be dry or boring, and we end up doing something like a banter-sode or recording another episode idea on that day. But that happens very infrequently. We've gotten really good, the three of us, at picking topics and designing these. Like, it's second nature to us now. At first, making these research documents was so tedious because we had no clue exactly how this show was going to function and how the flow of conversation and presentation was going to go. We were figuring all that shit out. And so creating the research documents was tedious and tenuous and strange. Now it's like second nature. Now it's just like, do all three of you read the research? I usually don't read research for a TJ or Scotty episode because I want to have my reactions be in the moment. I'll peruse it, like I'll know like what we're covering, what the subject is. But as far as like all the little beats of the research, I tend to keep my eyeballs out of that. I don't know what the other guys do with mine, but I want to be able to have unique, actual, natural surprise at facts and stuff, right? And I think that the other guys feel the same way. I won't put words in their mouth, but I really doubt that they're... Well, TJ knows what's coming because... All right, I can explain why TJ knows what's coming. Here's how it works. I record everything. Everything that you guys see, with the exception of a few things, because TJ does backup recordings. But I do the main recording of everything you see. So all the shows, all the minisodes, all the flash rides, all the fucking bullshit, right? I do the streaming, I do the recording. So I'm recording the shows. TJ is running the shows. So TJ has the research in front of him. TJ has pulled all the pictures and videos, and he shares his screen, and so it splits the fucking necessity. But TJ has always run the show. Like in terms of moving to the next picture, moving to the next video, playing the videos, all of that shit has always been on TJ from the very jump. And so until we figure out a way, which I think it could be done, for each of us to run our own shows, TJ is kind of in the loop on a lot of stuff. I know that he doesn't necessarily read ahead, but he has to read ahead in order to follow along with the research, right? And make sure that the right picture is up, the right video is being played, inserted at the right time in the research, so that's his job. So that's why he knows sometimes what's coming before it comes. He has prescience. impressions. Ooh. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, mama, don't you blow your top. The monkey came up on my door. Anyways, sorry to go off on those tangents. I know that shit is probably boring to a lot of you. The background shit of a show, it doesn't really matter, right? It's interesting to us because it's completely changed the way that we do things. It's completely changed our lives. But for you guys, the output is the same, right? Hoya, mate. Hoya, mate. Personally, I find it interesting. I do too, but, you know, I'm in the business. I'm always interested in that shit because, you know, we could, like, to be quite frank with you, our whole monetization model was stolen from another podcast. Not stolen, but the idea for how we monetize stolen from another show. In this case, it was, what's that fucking show? Not Come Town. What's that fucking big, kind of like raunchy lefty podcast? Chapo. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Honey Bear.
Almost done. I just wanted to have some coffee with you.
Well, let's do it. Thank you so much for the coffee. And the company.
It's at 7 and I haven't even gotten to the turtle yet, so.
It'll be perfect. It always is. I guess you chose the right monetization model to steal because it's worked out really well. I mean, it was totally like, we didn't realize it at the time when we started the show, but it liberated us as content creators from a paradigm that put us right under the gun with our audience. Like, our audience wanted this, this, and this, and if we didn't give them this, this, and this, exactly this, I mean, like I said, we've talked about it before. You know, when we were on DP and it reached its height, the inmates were running the asylum, for sure. We could not step even one little pinky toe out of the fucking cage of content we had created for ourselves, lest people lost their fucking minds. So, you know, it freed us from that. So we didn't realize it at the time. We just thought, hey, we're trying out a different way of doing things. But really, it fucking, if you think about it, the choice to do that, like 50-50 content, 50% front facing, 50% behind the paywall, has completely and utterly molded this show into what it is. That choice right there wasn't just a monetization model choice. It was a content creation choice. It was a creativity choice. And it has completely and utterly created the show that you guys watch. Deep Fat Fried would be a different show if it was monetized differently. That's just the truth.
Well, you very quickly got demonetized on YouTube, so you would have been fucked and it would have died in the cradle if you didn't do Patreon.
Right. Patreon and the way that we chose to split up our content model completely and fundamentally like informed almost as much as just our creative input itself what the show became. I mean, your opinion on the content notwithstanding, let's be real here. Like, DP and DFF are completely different shows. They're completely different show concepts. One of them is, kind of a wild, wacky look at the crazy internet and all the weird video makers that are on the internet and the weird stories that are happening and news and stuff like that. It keeps that kind of its home base. And that's DP. And then one of them is not even really focused on the weird people of the internet unless they're part of a broader topic. So it's a topical show. It's a show that every show is different. Every show is unique. Every show is a different topic, a different tone, a different timbre, because that's what we wanted. So it's very different shows, right? It's like apples and oranges, comparing them. Your opinion on which one is better is fine. I mean, everybody's going to have that, but, apples and oranges, right?
Probably the biggest thing is no fucking drama.
I mean, that was a huge part of what we did. You have no idea. By the time this fucking show was born, the three of us on DFF were so done with people's fucking melodrama and being dragged into fucking stupid bullshit community drama. It was over. It wasn't fully over. It took us a while to finally fucking fully cut that cord, but it started immediately when we started this show. That was one of our operating tenets, was like, whatever we do, we don't get spun into this drama factory shit. If we cover somebody, they're noteworthy and newsworthy. And if they're not, they don't get covered. That's just all there is to it. I really miss weird commercials, crazy Craigslist ads. The rest of DP got boring. Well, I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem, I think, with how formulaic DP had become for us as creators, was like, there were a lot of people that wanted to see different shit, but there were more people who wanted to see the same shit. Hey, dude, I was the guy that said something mean, really regretted it, said I'm sorry on Twitter. Here's the second part of my apology. Love you, dude. You don't have to apologize anymore. I saw your Twitter. I responded to you. It's cool. Like, hey, you said dude twice. I say dude like 5 times a sentence, dude. Don't worry about it. You're just picking up on my Cali. No, it's all good, dude. You have to understand. Like, what you did, right, didn't hurt me at all. I have a way thicker skin, right, than people give me credit for. You have to in order to do this job. And then you wrote me a message, which was very nice of you, but I get those all the time. I get a message all the time from somebody saying, look, Paul, I said some shitty shit to you. And I started thinking about it, and I felt bad about it. And I want to say I'm sorry. I don't agree with you, but you don't deserve to be treated the way I treated you. I'm not that kind of person. It made me feel bad to treat you that way. I swear to God, dude. I get that all the time. And it's fine. It's cool. I do the same thing, right? I pop off at people. I try to apologize when I do, when I feel I've done it in error. But you got to understand, man, you ain't hurting my feelings. To me, if anything, it shows that you have credibility as a human being, that you had the ability to go back and look at the way that you had treated me. And I don't even remember what it was you said. You just said something mean. and you looked at the way you treated me, and you looked at that and you went like, I don't want to be that. That's not the person that I think walks around and talks with his family and his friends. That's somebody else, and I don't want to be that. And that's cool. You know, you had a little introspective moment. You apologize. I don't give a fuck, bro. I really don't. You didn't hurt me. People say hurtful things to me every fucking day. And, you know, I see on the other end of that, people are in bad fucking moods every day. You know, people have bad days. It's okay. I have bad days. You have bad days. We're human beings. We lash out at each other. We say hurtful things sometimes. It's how we conduct ourselves after that that really speaks to our fucking humanity. And you did a good thing. You know, it wasn't necessary. Your comment had not stuck in my craw like you thought it might have. But by the same token, you did the right thing. You know, you made your point, and that's commendable in my world. But you never had to come here and pay me. So that's why you guys only did the Boogie episode but didn't continue YouTube drama, right? Respect. It does get old and lame after a while. And you guys did do it on DP for years. We all grew out of it. I mean, the Boogie episode, if you actually watch that episode, yeah, it's about Boogie 2988. We cover him a lot. But the overarching topic is not him. It's internet nice guy syndrome, right? Which is this idea that certain people take where they present themselves as this constantly victimized person, this constantly nice person, when really they're anything but, right? They perceive themselves as like, oh, everything I do is nice, but really everything they do is manipulative, and that's not nice.
By the same token, Boogie 2988 isn't like a lot of the other people you covered on DP. Like, he got in the actual news when he got arrested.
No, I mean, he's been in the news multiple times. Yeah. So he's one of the biggest, you know, or at least at one time was one of the biggest content creators on the platform. He's definitely somebody that's known outside of YouTube. So, you know, and he's been around for fucking ever, and it was an opportunity for Scotty to dig into something that he wanted to dig into and use Boogie as a fucking example of, which was this fake nice guy persona that a lot of streamers and content creators and podcasters put on, where that, you know, I think the point of that show was that you can't hide that about yourself. You can be as smiley and as nice as you want. You can play the victim card as many times as you want, but you're really going to show who you are. You do enough of this, people are going to know who and what you are. Popped off a warning shot with a live round, not even straight in there. Totally could have killed somebody. Oh, yeah, I know. I mean, this is fucking nuts. I mean, we obviously did this show we're talking about way before he did any of this, but I mean, Boogie's fucking crazy, dude. Boogie was threatening to shoot this guy for weeks. Like, threatening to shoot this guy, had announced his intent. If I see you, if you come to my house, I will shoot you. I will fucking kill you. He'd said this shit over and over again.
Premeditated. That's
right.
Not castle doctrine or whatever.
That's why he's in jail.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily because he pulled his gun on somebody. It's because he fired that fucking shot, and the investigators went back and found tons of streams with him threatening this person with death. He's just unstable as fuck. See, he's an example of a dude that can't handle, like, in my opinion, can't handle the pressures that we were talking about earlier. Like, he's a guy that is too fragile for the internet. His mental state is too fragile for the internet. And as a result of that, I think he's just a fish out of water most of the time. I think he's a very sick man. Hey, Paul, just curious, why do you guys choose to do shorter DFF episodes? I'm a fan of the longer hour-plus ones. Thank you. So we chose to start doing minisodes because one of the problems our channel has is that we've reached a huge chunk of audience, people that really like what we do. We believe, and in fact, I don't even really think we need to believe. We know that there are more people like that out there in the world that we need to reach. We want to grow the show. Well, one of the ways that you grow your show organically within the YouTube environment is regular posting. So instead of having 1 or 2 days a week where something goes up pretty much every day. We have moved towards the triple threat kind of mini-sode model because of that. So in order to give us more variety in topics, more stabs, think about it. If we're looking for new patrons or new viewers of the show, and we go back to the old way where we're doing 2 shows a week, right? That's 2 stabs that we have. 2 stabs that we have of finding a pair of eyeballs that isn't in our fan base that comes into our fan base, right? Which is good. It's 2 stabs a week. Now with the triple threats, or the minisodes, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 stabs a week. So all of a sudden, we've kind of doubled the amount of shit that's going out there, the amount of topics that are going out there, and thus it's like you cast more lines, you catch more fish, right? So that's why. That's 100% why.
When you guys move into like maybe some more advertising, it's a lot easier to advertise a 30-minute video than an hour-long video.
Yep. And yeah, we still do our long episodes for patrons. So if you liked the old hour-and-a-half plus long episode format, we'd still do that 1 a week for the patrons. That has remained unabated. That'll never change. They get that. But the plebisodes, you know, they're what's front-facing on our channel. So we want to entice people into that, and that means we got to take stab at different topics, different tones. When Cinema for Cynics gets the ball rolling again, it'll be on its own channel, but it'll be a Pessimist production. So it'll be part of the Pessimist Productions banner. It always was, but Pessimist Productions didn't exist at the founding of it, right? So it'll be under the Pessimist Productions banner, and there will be perks for patrons of DFF exclusive to that. So that's something that's coming for patrons, something that will just be added for them, right? Once everything's in place to get Cinema for Cynics rolling again, you guys will get maybe like a, I don't want to promise too much, but let's just say you guys will get some exclusive shit, some exclusive access because you're already patrons. And your price won't go up because of it. It's just going to be extra shit that you get. And there will likely, once I get that really started up in earnest, be at least a minor influx of new blood amongst you as well. Because Cinema for Cynics has legs that Flash Fried has never had in terms of subscriber growth and views and all that shit. So there's a ton of people over there that have never heard of this over here.
That are just sitting and waiting for the next one.
So it'll be a good little cross-pollination thing. It'll be something that the patrons will be fucking super lit about because they're going to pay the same amount of money they were paying last month, but all of a sudden they're getting this extra Cinema for Cynics content, whether that, you know, whatever shape that takes. Do. What's wrong?
I'm just getting a little high of things today.
What do you think? Did you get a bite or?
Maybe, or it's just one of those days.
Shitty. Probably covered this before. Why'd you step away from Cinema for Cynics? There was a number of things involved. Some of which I have no problem talking about, and some of which is just business shit. Suffice it to say that I felt I had to make a choice. Once DFF started ramping up, I felt like at that time the schedule that I had made for myself for Cinema for Cynics was not something that I was going to be able to keep up and keep up my obligations to DFF. And so that wasn't the only consideration, but that was one of the considerations I have no problem sharing with you guys. It was just time management. I had never run a show before, let alone two. And so my experience with content creation in that fashion came from being a gopher for the Drunken Peasants. I set up the shows, I pulled all the fucking articles and made sure everything was ready to go. But as far as like being involved in every aspect of the show, I was just not prepared for the amount of time that it would take me to fucking dedicate to, and that's only grown with time.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I said you had to edit those yourself too. You hadn't
Right.
hired any editors yet. So.
That was another huge consideration. It was such a time sink because I'm not a great editor. I edited every piece of Cinema for Cynics content that exists myself. I am not a good editor. I'm a competent editor, which means that I know how to do things, but it takes me like 3-4 times as long as a good editor does. And I was editing all that myself. So that was part of the,
Yeah, it was like DFF Patreon was still growing, right? So it's not like you had a ton of money to hire editors at that point.
No, we were investing all of that money back into the show, getting fucking new mics, getting boards, getting new computers, getting the stuff that we needed to make that show look and sound good. It was just, there was a lot of considerations that went into it. I could tell you didn't want to half-ass it. You wanted to put forth high quality on both channels, and that does take a lot of effort and time for sure. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I had to learn a lot, right? I had to learn a lot between when I was running C4C and DFF was starting and now. I know a lot better how to compartmentalize content creation. And so I've reached a point where I'm ready to add in an extra channel. I know what it means. I know what it means for my time. I know how much I'm going to have to dedicate in order to keep that channel running at a decent clip. And so I'm more aware of what I'm jumping into feet first. But yeah, I mean, trust me, it's not an easy thing. Especially when you see success like that rolling in. Because Cinema for Cynics was just immediately a hit. It started in our community and then it just went... Because movie content, especially at the time Cinema for Cynics was made, was exactly the type of shit YouTube wanted. Uncontroversial, interesting clickbait. And so it just went... And it kind of outgrew what I was able to do given my other shit. And I felt really strongly, maybe I was wrong about this, I felt really strongly that it was that the positive choice for me to make there was to focus on fucking Deep Fat Fried. And even though Deep Fat Fried is not paid off in the same way that fucking Cinema for Cynics might have, I felt very strongly in the collaboration of Deep Fat Fried. I'm glad I did that. Because had I not spent the last fucking few years doing Deep Fat Fried, I would not be at all equipped to do Cinema for Cynics. But now we make money. And so it's like, I don't have to edit all my own Cinema for Cynics shit. I can record my shit and send it off to a talented person who goes through and cuts in highlights the jokes and cuts in the movie clips and finds posters and finds stills from the film, right? All that shit's done.
That's why you guys are testing out so many editors right now.
Right.
That's why it's been kind of different shit every time. It's because you guys are testing.
Yep. I mean, got a call from Phoenix, Arizona that froze you. Not answering that. Maybe I should have, because I used to live there. Maybe it was like an old friend trying to get a hold of me. But how the fuck would they have this number?
Yeah.
More than likely just a fucking...
spam call.
Yep. Your warranty is about to expire.
You probably lost that one when you were doing shit.
Yeah, I've loved how you guys never limit yourself to just certain topic subjects. What other shows can I watch where you guys discuss frogs or bugs one week and 9/11 or fast food the next week? We love it too. As creatives, we love it because it's like we don't get bored. Do you guys have any idea how fucking filled, not total boredom, but just how filled with fucking dread and shit we were about doing the Drunken Peasants towards the end? It was like looking down the barrel of walking the same fucking road that you've been walking for years every day, watching the same ignorant people and trying to make them funny, trying to spin straw into gold 3 nights a week, 2 nights a week. It's just... creatively just like a fucking drain. This shit is draining. What we're doing now is draining. Make no bones about it. Amelia knows. She sees how I get, especially towards the end of one of these long fucking cycles and shit. There's just not a lot left in the tank, but I know what I'm getting myself into. I know I'm capable of it, and I know that at the end of it, I get to take a little time off, refresh the battery. It works.
And that time off will be what you use for like Cinema for Cynics when that gets rolling.
Right. So the time off that I'm having now is not really time off. I still do these. I still do a weekly live show for Flash Fried. There's still content that has to be made. So time off is not really time off. It's just a short shooting schedule. A very low shooting schedule for a little while so that we can focus on other things, including getting away every once in a while or sleeping in or spending a day fucking jerking off or whatever it is we want to do. It also felt like you guys were trying hard to please the fans, but nowadays you're doing what y'all want. Well, we're still trying hard to please the fans. See, that's the thing, is like people think that when I talk about how different the content creation philosophy is of DFF to DP, that it means that like, oh, well, DP gave a fuck about its fans and really listened to them, and DFF just hates its fans. No. DFF loves its fans. We love trying to pick topics that we think are going to be really interesting and funny for you guys to watch. That's how we serve you. We serve you by not being bored what we're creating. We serve our fans by coming with like a joie de vivre to every show because it's new to us too. That's how we serve our fans. We don't serve our fans by catering to their every whim. We don't serve our fans by listening to their every piece of feedback.
Like, that's why you guys started the mini-sodes. Like, it ended up being something that people didn't know they want.
Right. A lot of people, like, when those first came out, if you go look at the first few mini-sodes, a lot of people were like, oh, boo, this fucking sucks, blah, 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 blah. But look at how it's changed. We stuck with it for a few weeks, and now people are like, dude, I'm really actually liking these mini-sodes. We get 3
honestly,
a week.
It wasn't even that bad in the beginning. There was a lot of positivity.
Yeah, I know. I know. It wasn't an immediate, like, but there were some negatives, you know what I mean? There were some people that were like, I don't know about this, I like this. If we listened to those voices in the community, nothing had ever changed about this show. But now we've got it chunked up into these mini-sodes. People actually like it. It's easier for them to sit down and get it. They get something every day instead of just twice a week. You know, there's always something new from Pessimist Productions for them to fucking chew on. Something interesting. It's a full-fledged show. Just a shorter fucking look at a different topic. People love it. Listening to the fans is almost always a terrible idea, especially with video games. That's not necessarily true. Listening to fans can sometimes be a good idea. Case in point, Sonic the Hedgehog, right? The Sonic movie. You saw what they were about to foist on us. You saw it. I don't even have to fucking bring it up. You saw what they thought we wanted. And then the fans were like, motherfucker, no. That is gross and weird and disgusting, and I shall not see this movie. And what did they do? They fixed him. They made him look like Sonic the fucking Hedgehog, and as I understand it, I ain't seen it, but as I understand it, it's not that bad of a flick. You see? Yeah, I mean, it really could have been a guerrilla marketing ploy.
I mean, it would have taken, that's a lot of effort to animate something that long. That
yeah, but
like
all
shit.
We saw was trailers.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have been that long. Yeah. It just would have been the trailer Sonic.
Yeah.
Maybe they knew it looked like shit, and the whole idea was to create this false sense of community engagement by changing Sonic when really it was just a working model. Yeah. It is a big risk, but it paid off if they did it, right? Yeah. You have to understand. You have to start thinking like this because we live in we live in a society where that type of shit happens. It just does. Not everything is as it seems. Sometimes the fans are right, and it's just the vocal minority on Reddit that seems to be the most whiny, and half of them are just trolls. Reddit isn't even... Like, when I'm talking about listening to the fans and shit, Reddit is not even considered in that. Scotty doesn't go there, and TJ and I only go there to troll the trolls.
Yeah, like
Like,
Reddit
that's
is such
Reddit
a
is a
small portion of the community that it's
Reddit's a little fucking, you know, it's its own little thing over there. But we're not fucking taking cues off of Reddit, trust me. That would be stupid. No. Listen in the community means feedback, comments, DMs, fucking patron exit surveys, that type of shit. The shit that has actual weight behind it. Hey, I came and paid you, but you guys changed this and I don't like it and I'm leaving. Well, if it's one person or 5 people, so long. If it's fucking 50 people, oh, okay, all right. Maybe we done did something wrong here, boys, you know? All right. I love you, baby.
Love you too. You want to come in, D?
Yeah, you go inside. You go with mama.
It's going to get hot soon.
Already kind of is. Getting a little mug. So if I leave a complaint on the Patreon, there's a chance to read it. There's more than a chance. We have somebody that works for us. I won't say who, but it's somebody that you know, who maintains the Reddit and whose job it is to read and respond to Reddit threads. Or not Reddit, Patreon, sorry. Reads the Patreon, responds to the patrons' questions, comments, concerns, exit surveys, problems, etc. It's Egghead. How did you know? Fuck no. Dude, I wouldn't give Egghead a mop job, bro. Not a mop job. You're stealing that? Well, I stole it from Casino. So you're stealing a stolen thing. But that's fine. I mean, do with it as you will. Is it Milo? Yeah, you guessed it. It's Milo. No, it's not Peyton. It's someone very close. Not Taylor. I love it when you won't say who someone is and everyone just guesses. I know. I love it too. Dinoaur hooked up to the translator. Yeah, that's who it is. You guys got it. It's Dinoaur. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top. The buzzer told the monkey man, get off my back. The monkey grabbed the buzzer and said, listen, Jack, straighten up and fly right. I'll straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top. You guys are hopeless. You guys are hopeless. Am I on live chat or? I think I was on shit chat. That kind of sucks. Weed, please. Please, weed. Don't do it to me. It's the Cridgelant Vishjan Mario here. Yep. Any more Vermintide 2 coming? I think Scotty and, like, if you're not following fucking Stevie's Twitch, you should. Scotty and I are over there pretty fucking routinely playing Vermintide and shit with Stevie. Scotty even more often because, you know, he's there with Stevie so he can go play with him in person. So definitely, like, go follow Stevie's Twitch. Yeah, there we go. Otello just linked it in the chat for those people asking. So yeah, you know. Vermintide. I know they played some the other night, I think. But yeah, I mean, we've done a little bit of gaming content here and there. I think that the, you know, replacing Flash Fried with it was not everybody's favorite move, but whatever. I mean, we had a member out of town. And it was just like we didn't want to do the same old shit, but point taken. But as far as like extra content, people seem to like us fucking around video games, so I don't see any reason why we would not do that in the future here and there. We remember everyone who doubts us. We remembered you when we were nothing. Now we're bigger than any of our doubters could have possibly imagined, and we won't forgive you. Dun, 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 dun. You are judged, plebs. I hereby sentence you to endless scrutiny and endless humiliations. Gaze upon the finger of judgment. Man, that felt good. Why did that feel so good to do? Oh, man, it was like, I felt for a second like Lady Galadriel when she was close to the ring. Instead of a dark king, you would have a queen! All shall behold me and despair! That scene confused me. Was she being tempted? Absolutely. She was like, I think she did it on purpose to illustrate to Frodo what he learns, right? He can't trust anybody because he came to her in utter trust, right? Alone. She could have snatched that fucking ring, killed him and the entire fucking, and become the new Dark Lord right there. He offered it to her. And she allowed herself to get close enough to it to show how immediately her intent is twisted by it, which not only taught him, don't fucking give this ring away, it taught him these people that are your friends are gonna fucking turn on you. This ring is calling to them like it's calling to you. And they're not me. They don't have the restraint and knowledge that I do. Yeah. That's one of the beautiful things about Lord of the Rings is if you take any of the principal characters out, the ring doesn't get destroyed. It's a beautiful piece of writing for that reason. It shows a complete and utter commitment to continuity and the usefulness of each character. There are tons of main characters, big, giant characters that you're introduced to in the story. Not a single, if you remove a single one of them from the story, the ring doesn't make it to Mount Doom. That's just a sign of a beautifully conceived piece of fiction. Poor Tom Bombadil, I know, but he had to go. Bum 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 bum. If you remove Saruman, look what happens, right? Let's like take Saruman out of the movie. Merry and Pippin are never kidnapped, thus never taken to Fangorn, thus never meet Treebeard, thus never wake up the Ents who destroy Saruman and rend down his tower and destroy his ability to continue manufacturing Uruk-hai. So then Saruman defeats Rohan, right? Because that's what's at stake there. Saruman defeats Rohan, which doesn't show up to defend Minas Tirith, which falls. You get it? Right. Aragorn wouldn't have discovered his power, wouldn't have claimed his birthright. All of this shit has to happen in order for the ring to get there. Because in order for the ring to get into Mount Doom, remember, all of Sauron's armies are drawn to the gate. Because the armies of elves and men and the free peoples of Middle Earth show up at the fucking front gate of Mordor. If that doesn't happen, Sauron's eye is on fucking Mount Doom looking for fucking Frodo the whole time he's in Mordor. And he never gets there. Sauron's eye is fixed on the army at the gate. He feels like, oh, that's where the fucking ring is. They've given it to one of these guys and he's coming to beat me. So he pushes all the orcs in fucking Mordor, all the trolls, all the fucking defenses, all march towards the Black Gate, leaving the fucking Tower of Barad-dûr and the fucking Mount Doom completely empty. If that doesn't happen, because Rohan doesn't show up and save Gondor, Frodo dies in Mordor. There's no alchemical process involved, as far as I'm aware, Zach, when it comes to how orcs were twisted from elves. It's just literal torture. They took elves, right, and tortured them and mutilated them and generationally oppressed them to the point where they changed into some twisted version of themselves that was where elves are considerate, they're cruel. Just generational torment. They took elves, kidnapped them, and over the course of generations, molded them into orcs. It's a magic thing. I don't know. I love the ghost scene from the theatrical scene, but in the extended version, they take the surprise out of it. It wasn't a fan of that scene. Yeah, I don't know. We just finished the Two Towers the other day, and we're gonna probably crack into Return of the King and finish it up in the next couple of days. And yeah, it's been a while since I've seen the extended edition, so I'll have to keep an eye on that. It was a brilliant thing because the Eye of Sauron is mentioned so many times, and you have seen it, a single eye, lidless, wreathed in flame. So it's described in the books, but making it an actual visual presence. What race is Sauron? If I'm not mistaken, he's the same race that Gandalf is and Saruman is, right? Like he's a whatever those things are, a Maiar, yeah, like an angel, right? A fallen angel. How did he get so powerful? Same way Gandalf is. I mean, you understand, like, if you read the Lord of the Rings, right? And the Hobbit. See, in the Hobbit, he's mentioned. He's never mentioned by the name Sauron, but he's mentioned as the necromancer that's setting up in Mirkwood, which is a place that, like fucking the hobbits or the Hobbit and the dwarves on the journey to the Lonely Mountain. They have to go through Mirkwood, right? And Mirkwood is the realm of the Wood Elf King, who, by the way, is the father of Legolas in Lord of the Rings, just for continuity's sake. And that king has been twisted because the evil of flowing forth from the necromancer that set up shop in Mirkwood has tainted the woods and thus tainted the will of the elves and tainted everything. It's made them more warlike. And so that is our introduction to Sauron, even though we're not told that he is Sauron, right? He's never called that in The Hobbit. Right. The wizards are limited in their power, but by choice almost. It's like I don't fully understand it. Fucking Marshall's way more deep into it than I am. He knows way more about the lore and shit. But Gandalf, like, he basically dies. Like, that's the thing in the book that a lot of people don't realize. They're like, oh, Gandalf didn't die. Well, yes, he did. In order to defeat the Balrog, he had to shed the body of Gandalf the Grey, which was this old man who was more powerful than he looked, definitely capable of doing some crazy shit, but limited. And he had to shed that. And he literally dies. He doesn't remember any of the people from the Fellowship. He has to be reintroduced to them very specifically because in order to right, he acts completely different after he's returned. Gandalf the White is a different character than Gandalf the Grey. He's still the same in terms of like presence in certain scenes and shit, but he speaks differently, carries himself different. He leveled up, right? Right. Their power is not direct. It's not meant to be. It's subtle. They're meant to influence the outcomes, provide wisdom, guide the races of men and elves and dwarves on the right path. But they're capable of being corrupted. If there are good ones, there are evil ones, and there are morally ambiguous ones. And Saruman happens to be one of those morally ambiguous ones who gets a hold of a Palantir and thinks that he is powerful enough to use it, and thus becomes corrupted into the Dark Lord's service. Not necessarily feeling like he's going to serve the Dark Lord, but feeling like he has a chance to become. I am the same as him. I can supplant him. If I get the ring, fuck him. It'll be Isengard that rises, not Mordor. That's one thing that stuck in my craw about the movies. They don't explain that Denethor had one. He just comes off as crazy for no reason. They don't explain it, they imply it. There are several shots in the movie that prominently show the ring that he's wearing. He's obviously wearing one of the original goddamn fucking rings. Just like the fucking elf is, right? Just like fucking Galadriel is. She shows Frodo her ring. Wait. No, you're right. He didn't have a fucking ring. He has a Palantir. He got corrupted the same way. He got fucking driven crazy the same way fucking Saruman. You're right, because all of the men, all 9 of the men that got the rings are the ring wraiths. So I was wrong about that. My bad. Yeah. The ring wraiths are the 9 that have the rings. So yeah, he has no ring of power. He desires it because he's been corrupted by the Palantir that nobody knows he has. That's his secret fucking corruption there. Denethor is not just an asshole. Denethor was corrupted. He was corrupted in the same way that fucking Saruman was, right? You remember in the Fellowship, Gandalf goes and says, there's the wisest of my order. He'll know what to do. I have to visit him. Saruman the White, the wisest of my order. He will know what to do. So Gandalf implicitly trusts Saruman, not knowing that he has been corrupted. Denethor was the same way. Denethor was responsible for what little bit of humanity remained for Minas Tirith being a city at all. He was the steward of Gondor, right? So he's not the king, but he's holding the place of the king. And so just the fact that as we come into it, Minas Tirith still stands is a testament to the fact that Denethor is not an asshole. I mean, he might be brash or whatever, and maybe a little fucking dismissive of his kid, but that is played up by his secret connection to the Dark Lord, who's been corrupting his heart and pushing him ever towards getting that ring. You remember Faramir almost sends it to him. Tell my father Faramir sends a powerful gift. Movies rarely do justice to the book and leave a lot out, but LOTR is probably the best adaptation despite all they left out. I agree. Yeah, Faramir is cooler in the books. I agree. Faramir kind of got gimped in the fucking movies. Not gimped. That's a bad word. You're not supposed to say that. Faramir got kind of nerfed in the movies. into a kind of avatar of daddy didn't love me and petulance, whereas Faramir in the books, he is under that same gun, like that his father does, but Faramir is just he moves within that despite. Gimped means like crippled. You can say it, I just don't wanna. I'm trying, it's one of those words that because it doesn't, I don't need it, you know what I mean? So I'm just trying to cut it because it just, you know what I mean? I can say fucking nerfed. People understand what that means. Because the implication of saying gimped is that people that are fucking crippled are downgraded versions of human beings, right? It's fucked up. It's kind of mean. Hobbled, maybe, yeah. I prefer nerfed. Are you watching theatrical or extended? We're watching the theatrical. You hold on real quick. I'm gonna go get another joint. Be right back. I'm gonna top off my coffee too because I'm gonna need it today. I'm gonna need this coffee. Chase. I think them Foxies might be out again today, and I don't want another incident. So you better just get ready for that. Because if them Foxies come out, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it at all. You leave them alone. What you did yesterday was asshole central, D. Asshole. Come on. Come over here. I understand. Stay tuned, Connor. That's all I'll tell you. D's not grounded. He's on punishment. Because yesterday, he's been a good boy for a couple weeks, but yesterday he had a fucking incident. Took off after the foxes, chased Dad Fox around in circles. It was a goddamn nightmare. I'm sitting here on the porch screaming at him. He's in the doghouse. He knows it too. I mean, trust me, he didn't do no harm to them. The dad fox is almost Dinoaur's size and basically pranced away from him like Pepe Le Pew. You know what I mean? I could tell that the dad fox wasn't worried at all. Like he was leading Dinoaur away from the babies, basically. So he just basically like led Dinoaur on a chase, and Dinoaur doesn't. He's not trying to kill anything. Dinoaur just wants to like meet the fox. He thinks that it's gonna go like it goes with other dogs. Like he's gonna sniff their butt, they're gonna sniff his butt, and he's not gonna like it, and then he'll be friends with them. But that is a fox. You can't explain that to Dinoaur. He thinks it's just a dog that's not supposed to be in the yard. You know what I mean? And it's hard for me to fucking there's really no way for me to explain that. They could kill him if they wanted. Absolutely. If they thought he would, that's why I don't want him over there chasing them. Is like if he actually does something that they perceive as threatening to their kids, they're gonna attack him and hurt him or kill him. You know what I mean? So we're trying to fucking work with him here. Like Dinoaur doesn't understand. They don't want to play. They don't want to meet him. They're raising their babies, and he needs to let them alone. Isn't that right, D? You gonna leave him alone? Foxes only domesticate to a point. You can go on YouTube and find people that have semi-domesticated a fox. They only domesticate to a certain point. Dude, Nick Cage would have been a dope-ass Aragorn. I don't know why people are tripping on that. Oh, Cali Bud, oh, Cali Bud. A Nick Cage Smeagol, that would have been great too. Nick Cage is a student of that old Fritz Lang shit. An old Commedia dell'arte, big body fucking theater performer. The guy could fucking kick ass in a lot of roles if you really honestly think about it. There's a number of roles he could have played in the Lord of the Rings, in my opinion. Lord of the Rings, but Nick Cage plays everyone, yeah. Oh yeah, Nick Cage is the mouth of Sauron, yeah. Frodo by Tommy Wiseau. I can't do it. The ring. Ah, the ring's too heavy. Ah, I can feel it. I can feel the ring. Oh, that would have been great. He could have done it. The ring is tearing me apart. Ah. Okay, I'm gonna say something that's gonna be controversial amongst LOTR fans and shit. Okay, but I have to say it. It's stuck out to me more than ever watching it through this last time here with Amelia. Which I've seen these movies a bunch of before, and I've felt this way for a while, but I've never voiced it. This kind of like semi homosexual tension between Sam and Frodo is like some of those scenes in the movies are just like the fucking like, you know, I made a promise, Mr. Frodo. A promise. Don't you leave him, Samwise Gamgee. But I don't mean to. You know, and then Frodo's like, one single tear. He's like, oh, Sam. Faithful Sam. Dude, I feel it in the movies. I feel it in the books too, but in the movies, man, it just comes out as this schmaltz. Where it's just like all of the fucking like I almost feel like all of the character was taken out of Samwise Gamgee in the films. Like I don't think he's a detriment to the movies, and I think there's a lot of scenes where he's really good that come off really good, but I think Samwise is just so fucking like he's not that way in the book. Like if you read the book, Samwise, yeah, he loves Frodo clearly, and he considers Frodo to be a friend, but he's like a more sassy, kind of self-assured, cocksure kind of person. Oh, Sam. Loyal Sam. There's like that scene at the end of the Two Towers where he's like, oh, Mr. Frodo. Oh, they're gonna write tales about this someday, do you figure? Oh, wise Mr. Frodo. I want to hear about more of that. And then Frodo's like, oh, Sam. I want to hear about Samwise the Brave, the bravest of the hobbits. I want to hear more about dear old Sam. Just like, can you guys blow each other? Can you? Because I'd be fine with that. Like I'd be fine with like a fucking sweaty ass, masculine ass, fucking Brokeback Mountain fuck scene. If it just blew that tension out, you know? Oh, my succulent, rippling Sam. How I've spent many nights imagining what you'd look like with your shirt off. Oh, Mr. Frodo. I hate to admit it to you, but I've seen you many a time with your shirt off. You have, Sam. When? Oh, well, I'm trimming the verge. I've looked in and seen you changing your bedclothes. Oh, Sam. I thought I felt a pair of eyes on me. Thought it might be Gollum. Oh, it wasn't Gollum, Mr. Frodo. Oh, it wasn't Gollum. I mean, it's just basically like a hair short of that in the movie. Like, you think I'm fucking taking it totally to the gay realm, but the movie just stops like a cunt hair short of that. Just right before that, you know what I mean? It never quite dips its toe in that. Oh, darn it. What's wrong, Sam? Mr. Frodo, something strange is going on. What is it, Sam? I can't get these trousers to fit. What do you mean your trousers don't fit, Sam? I mean, Mr. Frodo, when I'm hiking behind you, it's like, it becomes very uncomfortable. Oh, Sam. Oh, Sam. I know what's happening. Oh, I don't want to talk about it, Mr. Frodo. I think there's something wrong with my, There's nothing wrong with that, Sam. Let me ask you a question, Sam. Does this problem happen sometimes when you're looking at Rosie back home? Oh, well, I feel like I oughtn't talk about that, Mr. Frodo, but to put it quickly, yes. Oh, Sam. You've so much to learn. Teach me, Mr. Frodo. Amelia's not out here. Yeah, Sam hates Gollum because he thinks he's trying to fucking go after that Frodo boy booty. Now listen here, you little sneaker. Frodo's boy booty is mine. You understand? I don't trust you as far as I can pick you up and throw you. Oh, you might be ripped, you might be rippling, but your whole face is busted. Frodo ain't gonna go for that. Oh, you'd be surprised, stupid fat hobbit. This body, many people willing to ignore Gollum's face. Oh, you disgusting freak. You need a checkup from the neck up is what you need, Gollum. Master didn't have a problem with it last night, Precious. What do you mean last night? What happened? Oh, well, Precious was sleeping off his taters. Master and Smeagol had a little alone time. You filthy, disgusting, sneaky fuck! You stay away from my Frodo. I don't think it's me you need to worry about. Frodo come to Smeagol. Oh! That's a lie! You're a liar and a cheat! The whole trilogy, but like it's all just a gay sex story. Lord of the Cock Rings, but with the same budget, you know what I mean? What are you smirking about, elf? Nothing really, just wondering. About an old tale that I heard. What tale's that? Just something about everything on dwarves being short. Elf, what do you mean? Oh, I think you know what I mean, Master Gimli. Are you claiming I have a small dick? I'm not claiming, I'm just saying that's what the tales say. Well, allow me to disabuse you of your notion, Master Elf. For flump. Oh my. Oh, shit, bro. Gandalf the gay. Bilbo Baggins. You haven't aged a day. Oh, Gandalf. Oh, Gandalf. Gandalf takes a little squeeze. Oh, my word. Huh. Still smuggling eggs in a hanky back there. Still as firm as the day I met you. Oh, Gandalf, come inside. You flatter me. Oh, trust me, my boy, I don't. Flattery is not something that wizards are good at. You really mean it, Gandalf? You think my ass is still just as firm and supple as it was all those years ago when we went to Mount Doom? If you could believe it, Bilbo. Your ass is even firmer and suppler than then. Or else my old eyes are just beholding you in a new light. Oh, Gandalf. Is there anything I can get you? Some bumbleberry juice, maybe? Actually, I was hoping to smoke a pipe. Oh, yes, I'll get you some of the finest South farthing that I've got, Gandalf. Bilbo. What? I didn't mean that kind of pipe. I would like to smoke some of the Hobbit's finest, if you get my drift. Oh, Gandalf. Rimley. You're going to have to toss my salad. Did I hear you correctly, Master Dwarf? Yes! Don't tell the elf, but you're going to have to toss my salad. Oh, no. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, man, dude. Lord of the Rings is gay as fuck. I never realized. Holy shit, it's gay. My God, it's gay. I never realized. I never realized how gay. The brown eye of Sauron. All right. Movie. That whole fucking story is gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just didn't realize. It's like a fucking revelation. Who knew? I missed a super chat, sorry. Is this enough money to redo the movies, but like this? Yeah, that should do it, dude. That should hang. $5 ought to cover it. Anywho, anywho, Rimley, I don't even want to. Nah, the Arwen plot is fine. It's not meant to be a central plot of the goddamn film or anything, so it's not like, you know, the Arwen plot falls short. It is what it is. It's there for a reason. It's there to signify the, like, because think about it. Aragorn is pulled two ways. As a Dunedain, he enjoys unnatural long life in comparison to other mortals. He's one of the last of his kind in that way. And so there is part of him that's very tied to the fate of the elves. But he also has one foot firmly planted in the fate of men, as mortal as they are in comparison to him. And so the Arwen subplot mixed with the Eowyn subplot, it's not just necessarily meant to show a struggle of being attracted to two different people. It's meant to show that he's 86, I think. He's 87 years old during Lord of the Rings. But he presents as a man of like low middle age, like some like 32 or something. But he's in his 80s, so he's he's a Dunedain. So an old bloodline of men that has weakened and become completely, he's the last basically of a dying race. Like, there's a scene in the book. Oh, it's in the movie too. Well, it's in the extended edition of the movie. But there's a scene in the book where Aragorn is talking to Eowyn, the shield maiden of Rohan, about how he rode into battle with King Theoden. Like, but this was before she was born. And she was like, what do you mean you rode into battle with King Theoden? You must have just been a boy. You couldn't have been more than a year or two old. And he says, I'm 87 years old. I actually knew King Theoden when he was growing up. Like, I was already grown up, and I knew King Theoden as a boy. It's like, whoa. Kind of gives you an idea of why Aragorn gets so much deference everywhere he goes, because he knows, he knows everybody. He's been around. You do get it from the movie. There's a quick conversation that happens in the extended editions between when they're on their way to Helm's Deep. When they're on the road to Helm's Deep, right before the warg attack, he has a talk with Eowyn about it, where he reveals to her that, like, yeah, I knew Theoden when he was a boy. Yeah, he's drinking her gross soup, yeah. Yep, he travels nearly all of Middle-earth during Lord of the Rings, yes. Aragorn's path is the longest in the book, the least direct. He hits all of the major fucking cities and areas of Middle-earth during the course of the Lord of the Rings. He's everywhere. He's always in the thick of everywhere he needs to be. He's in Rohan, he's in Gondor, he's at the gates of fucking Barad-dûr. You're in a LOTR meme group online. It's like 50% of it is people roasting her soup. Yeah, it did look pretty fucking gross. Aragorn was Strider before they knew his real name, yes. That's what he was known as, a ranger. That was his ranger name. I forget, he has an elven name. What is his elvish name? Elisar, yeah. I think Elisar is... No, maybe I'm wrong. It might be Elisar. Aragorn is not an elf name. Aragorn is a Númenorian name. He's Aragorn, son of Arathorn, and a long line of Númenorian kings of Gondor. So that is very much not an elf name. You swear it's Estelle? I don't think it is. I think it's I think people were right. I think it's Elisar that they call him. I played a little bit of Lord of the Rings online, yeah. Estelle is correct, huh? Interesting. All right, I gotta go. I got shit to do. This was fun, though. Yep. I'll see you next time. Bye.